This is Optimal Finance Daily, episode 642, Refinance Your Mortgage Before Leaving Your Job, Please, by Sam of FinancialSamurai.com. And I'm Dan, your host and narrator of some of the best blogs on personal finance, and our terrific blog post today comes from Financial Samurai. But before we get to that, people are fed up with calling a business only to reach a voicemail, robot, or someone who sounds busy, bored, or bothered. Call ABI Connect today to have a world-class, professional, and courteous team of receptionists wowing your callers by tomorrow morning. Call 833-ABI-WOW to hear the difference. That's 833-ABBY-WOW. For now, let's get to our post for today as we start optimizing your life. Refinance your mortgage before leaving your job, please, by Sam of FinancialSamurai.com. In late January of 2012, I had a strong suspicion I was going to engineer my layoff in the coming months. I had worked at my company for 11 years, and I was looking forward to doing something on my own. As a result, I knew I had to do as much as possible to lower my expenses before taking the leap of faith. One of my biggest recurring expenses is my mortgage. Even though my initial mortgage rate from 8 years ago has dropped from 5.75% down to 2.625%, spending thousands of dollars a month is still a lot of money for someone who no longer has W-2 income. Every dollar of interest savings counts. When the 10-year Treasury yield dropped to 1.85%, I gave my bank a ring to see what they could do. Amazingly, they came back with a 5-1 ARM rate of 2.625% with no cost, no cash outlay. The process started around January 27, 2012, and didn't end until early May 2012, 100 days later. At the end of April, around day 80, the bank asked me again for my latest 2 paychecks. I clearly remember thinking to myself, thank goodness I still have a job. I told my bankers that it was likely I would no longer have a W-2 income stream come summer, just to be completely upfront. They thanked me for my honesty and pushed my refinance through because they said we cannot predict the future. We have an 11-year relationship, and I don't plan on defaulting on my mortgage anyway. Why you need to refinance before leaving your job. 1. You need a W-2 statement. No underwriter is going to approve your mortgage if they don't have evidence of a steady paycheck. The longer you've had your steady paycheck, the more comfortable they will feel. On the mortgage application, they will ask for your title, occupation, and years of employment. If you have a goose egg for all, then you are likely going to be denied. The exception to the rule is if you have a significant amount of other assets as collateral and you have a large enough recurring stream of miscellaneous interest or dividend income that has been established for many years prior. 2. Income and expenses after quitting are uncertain. You've done your conservative budget and think you've got enough to last you for however many months or years, but you never know when some random expense pops up. I couldn't foresee a water pipe bursting from underneath my sidewalk that cost $1,500 to fix, but I had to get it fixed or else the city would fine me, and I needed water. Meanwhile, entrepreneurial income is never certain. A big competitor might decide to move into your space one day and squash you. Then what? It's important to at least lock down your largest expenses. 3. A new job carries less weight. Even if you get a nice new job, the bank generally wants to see a year of employment before giving you a loan. A new banking relationship with the best rate will be gun-shy with someone who has only been at their job for 6 months. Of course, if you are refinancing with an existing bank, you might have more leeway. The other issue is that there's no guarantee you'll find a comparable new job in the first place. The job market is still tough out there. 4. The government is the puppet master. Our government has their hand shoved so far up big banks that it's very hard for banks to have any flexibility. My latest mortgage refi went through underwriting review over 10 times before finally getting approved 100 days later. The government has added new channel checks to make sure the bank isn't being reckless with their lending practices. Being stringent is good for all of us long term because it means there will be less defaults in the future. However, in the short term, the government's involvement has made it difficult for even the most creditworthy of borrowers. 5. Lower your own risk of default. You need to be able to weather the bad times so that you are never late on payment, which will hurt your credit score. Ultimately, you want to lower your risk of losing your home because no home means begging on the streets or living with relatives. Your home is much more than an investment. It's a lifestyle. The bank doesn't want you to default since they are not in the business of selling real estate. 6. Independent contractor income only counts if you have 2 years' worth. I recently inquired about refinancing my latest mortgage via LendingTree. I spoke to a banker about having 1 year of 1099 independent consulting income for 2014. He said that I need 2 years of 1099 income to count. Even though I made over $100,000 in 1099 income in 2014, the bank still won't count it if I don't have another full year. With LendingTree, I was able to talk to another bank who is providing new ways to get my debt-to-income ratio down below 42%. Once you are unemployed, you become invisible to banks. I encourage everyone to refinance their mortgage before quitting, retiring, engineering, or simply taking an extended leave of absence. Once a bank sees your main source of income is gone, it's unlikely that they'll let you refinance with them because you are perceived as higher risk. It doesn't matter how high your credit score is or how loyal you've been to the bank, and the fact that you have a baseball collection worth more than your mortgage itself. If you no longer have a job, it is almost impossible to get a mortgage or refinance a mortgage. You just listened to the post titled "Refinance Your Mortgage Before Leaving Your Job, Please" by Sam of FinancialSamurai.com. And thank you again to ABI Connect for their support. It's a gamble spending money advertising a business only to deliver a poor customer service experience. More than half of Americans have walked away from a purchase or business because of poor service. Any business with customers is in the people business, so it's no surprise that 79% of consumers want high-quality, human-driven customer service. That's where ABI Connect comes in. Based in the 24/7 customer-centric city of Las Vegas, ABI Connect provides businesses with a world-class, professional, and courteous team of receptionists specifically trained to address their callers' needs. A quick Google search will show you hundreds of reviews from happy small business owners who can't imagine what business was like before using ABI Connect. Call ABI Connect today to have a world-class, professional, and courteous team of receptionists wowing your callers by tomorrow morning. Call 833-ABI-WOW to hear the difference. That's 833-ABBY-WOW for a free 2-week trial and $95 off your first bill. That number again is 833-ABI-WOW. And that's going to do it for me here on another edition of Optimal Finance Daily. Have a great rest of your Tuesday. Thank you as always for being a subscriber, and I'll see you back here tomorrow where your optimal life awaits.